Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have with me once again Anton Mastroianni. Anton, it's great to have you on again, brother.
Thank you, bro. It's always an honor to be on.
Yeah, and Dark Sorcery, Cult of Belial, hooking up again, cross promotion. That's how we do it. And today we're going to be talking about astrology, and this is going to be unique. We're going to talk about the shadow side of each sign as well. But let's go ahead and talk about the origins of astrology. So, if you do research, I guess astrology goes back 20,000 years into the Paleolithic, drawings and carvings on walls and rocks indicating so. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say that's very accurate, as well as the stars themselves. You've
Right.
got constellations that sort of relate to these zodiac signs.
Hmm. Okay. Now, modern day astrology, uh, according to history, was born in 331 BC when Alexander the Great invaded Babylon and introduced Babylonian astrology to the Greeks, and the Greeks and Greek mathematics and astronomy to the Babylonians. And that mixture kind of gave us what Western astrology has. Um, Now, one thing I do want to talk about is there's different types of astrology. So you have Western astrology, you have Chinese astrology, and then you have the Vedic system. You know, and they're different. Now, in your opinion, would you say that one is more accurate than the other, or not so?
I haven't looked into a lot of the other ones. I've just gone off
Right.
the general,
Western.
Leo, Cancer, Libra, all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But just going off what I would feel, I don't think one is more valid or better than the other. I
Mhm.
feel all should be taken into consideration and studied.
Yeah, I agree with that because the Japanese have a saying that goes, there are many paths to the top of the mountain. And just because one person has a certain point of view doesn't mean that the other person's point of view is wrong, as long as they both get to the top of the mountain. Um, I like to look at different cultures, astronomy, just astrology, excuse me, uh, just to see their point of view. Because I think that by looking at different points of view, we can learn something instead of just keeping it one sided. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, I agree with that. It's always good to look through other perspectives or
Hmm.
different types of perspectives because perspective is power, really. And there's
Yeah.
no need to limit ourselves to just a singular perspective.
Hmm. 100%, 100% agreed. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about is the Star of Bethlehem in the Bible. Now, I'm convinced that the three wise men were astrologers, and I'm going to tell you why. So, if you rewind the stars, the way they were aligned in the Middle East at that time. Uh, so Pisces at the time, Pisces ruled Judea. To a lot of people, Saturn signified the Jews. Jupiter signified kingship. So if an astrologer at that time in the Middle East was to look in the sky and study the stars, a lot of people would read the king of the Jews was being born in Judea. Okay, so that's what a lot of astrologers would have gotten, the way they would have interpreted it, and then they would have gone to see what the hype was all about. Um, Now, in if you take a look at 7 BC, I'm convinced it's okay. I'm
My bad.
convinced that if Jesus really did exist, his true birth year would have been 7 BC. Because if you take a look at 7 BC, um, there's a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Pisces at that time. Um, Now, that would have been his date of birth. Now, what do you think about all that?
Hmm. I haven't really read much into that, but it
Mm,
would definitely be sort of after Mesopotamian time, 100%. But even looking back, a lot of it is derived from previous history, like going off biblical stories. The flood story is based off the Epic of Gilgamesh. But beyond that, I haven't read too much into it.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to comment on the video. That's interesting. It does tie into astrology, before we get into the different signs. Now, would you agree that your sun sign, your moon sign, and your ascendant or rising sign are the top three to pay attention to?
I believe they're all to be paid attention to, because they all sort of seep or leak or interlink with each other. For example, the moon sign, it's your emotions, how your emotional side is, how you are by yourself when you go through things. But Mars is also the one of aggression, passion, aggression. It's anger. Your Mars sign is gonna leak through to your moon sign, and then it's going to filter through your sun sign, your ego, right? So they're all going to interlink and sort of mingle with each other to produce the outcome, so to speak. But one is not limited to the specifics of their signs in the natal chart.
Right.
For example, my star sign is Libra, so I'm quite political, balanced, fair. I like to avoid conflict when I can, but when conflict arises, it's go time.
Yeah, I can relate, man. I'm a Libra too. That's probably why we get along so good.
Definitely, man. But we also mirror people. We're a mirror. We reflect back what people give to us. So if people are chill with us, we're chill with them. If they're sort of iffy with us, we can be iffy with them.
Yeah, if it seems unbalanced, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, the reason I asked about those three and choose to pay attention to those three is because, the sun sign is our personality, moon sign, our emotional side. The ascendant sign is kind of how people view us, like if they don't know us. And then once they talk to us and get to know us, then they see our personality, our sun sign. That comes out. So now, one thing I want to comment on, would you agree that the signs are personalities and traits, planets are mental functions, and the houses are areas of our life?
I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right, cool. So that's kind of some background I want to cover. And then also in astrology, once you get so deep in astrology, it kind of leaks into planetary magic. Would you agree that in planetary magic, the planetary intelligence is the angel of the planet, and the planetary spirit is sort of the demon of the planet?
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah. So so in planetary magic, you have the planetary intelligence, which is assigned to it, and then the planetary spirit. Now, the planetary intelligence is usually regarded as the angel associated with the planet, and then planetary spirit is usually regarded as the demon of the planet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that before.
Now I'll be honest. That area of planetary magic, I just started getting into, and so I just kind of took some notes and kind of wanted to get your feedback on it. So I plan on delving more into it and doing a video on planetary magic, kind of getting into studying and presenting new information in planetary magic. But let's go ahead and get into the signs. Okay. Now we're going to talk about every sign and the shadow aspects of every sign. So let's go ahead and start with Aries. Okay. Now Aries is, they like to be number one. They have a very strong drive. They're a fire sign. I think that one thing that Aries can tend to work on is that, they might have a strong drive, and maybe that might kind of cause them to be not sensitive to looking at other things that may be more important to them. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, 100%. That would go into the more darker aspects of them, which would be the extreme competitiveness, which can sort of shown as envy, jealousy, things along those lines. They tend to be also the loudest in the room, I've noticed.
You usually tell those on the weekend, go out. So, yeah. Okay, let's talk about Taurus. Now, Taurus, they like a lot of luxury. They're earth. Maybe they can, focus on the material aspects of life too much and not pay so much attention to, spiritual aspects. What do you think?
Taurus, I've actually met a lot of Taurus and dated a few, actually. But they can be very materialistic, but also generous, extremely generous at the same time to those that they like or are close to. But the stubborn stereotype, it's true. Like I find it's true most of the time. Like once they've made their mind up, there's no trying to change it, convince them, or steer them another way. It's just tunnel vision from there on.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, if you see that they might be in the wrong, there's really nothing you can do but allow them to just move on, and just learn their lesson. Now let's move on to Gemini. So Gemini tends to be, very busy, spontaneous, very curious. They're an air sign. Again, they may not take the time to slow down. Sometimes if you're spontaneous, you have to be realistic and be like, okay, is it really worth doing this right now? What do you think?
I think that 100%, but there's also there's two sides of a coin with Gemini. There's the side that presents and the side that they keep for themselves, which tends to be the more darker aspect of Gemini, which very rarely you'll see unless they want you to, which in particular towards enemies of theirs, they will see. But they can be extremely secretive in nature, I find.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I agree with that. That's some good insight. Let's go ahead and move on to Cancer. So with Cancer, they're psychic, they're protective. They tend to not want to trust people easily. You really got to earn their trust. They're a water sign. Maybe they can kind of close themselves off too much, and there's a lot of missed opportunities. What do you think?
Cancer. It's a very interesting sign that I tend to have a lot of them in my life. I meet a lot of them. Someone I knew actually had most of their naval chart all Cancer, pretty much, almost all Cancer, which was something that I'd never seen before. Yeah, it was rare.
That's rare, yeah.
But with them, they can be extremely vengeful if crossed. Not the first time, but it takes a while to push a Cancer to that level. But once they're at that level, it's payback time, but they're very, very quiet about it. And it's very...
Look how aggressive the crab can be, You push it. There you go. 100%. That's just the nature of it.
Definitely. But at the same time, if they're hurt, they'll sort of like snip the connection off and just vanish. Just
just be kind of cold there. Let's move on to Leo. So, Leo tends to like spotlight, likes to celebrate, can be very dramatic. They're a fire sign. Of course, they can be over dramatic sometimes. What are your thoughts on
that? 100%. They're also extremely territorial in relationships and friendships even. They can be a very jealous sign.
Definitely.
Extremely fiery as well. They're very passionate though. That they will fight for what they're passionate for.
Right.
It's a great sign to be friends with, because they'll fight with you if you need someone to fight with you. They'll have your back, and they typically don't ask for anything in return. But at some point they will weigh up the relationship, I've noticed.
Agreed. So now let's talk about Virgo. So, Virgo can be very busy. They tend to be perfectionists. They tend to, I think sometimes not everything has to be perfect. Not everything has to be neat. Sometimes just let things be. What are your thoughts on Virgo?
Virgo, I find very social but shy at the same time. It's a very strange mix of the two. They love to make connections, but they're very soft.
Right.
Until they're not soft, then yeah. But
right. I don't know. Agreed. Now let's talk about our sign, Libra. Balance. Of course, this is an air sign. I know that I'm constantly trying to keep things in balance, and I'll be the first to admit that if things tend to be unbalanced, I can get in the mood swings, and that's something that I need to work on. What do you think? What about you?
Yeah, I'm the exact same there. Struggle to keep balance, and once things are unbalanced, I can't do anything else unless they're balanced. The mood swings definitely, but with us as well, I've noticed that mirror effect I was talking about before. That goes back to the scales. Whatever someone puts on the scales will affect the whole detriment of how we interact with them as well. We have to sort of keep things fair, even. We're all about justice. If we see something that we believe is an injustice, it strikes us to our core. We can't sit there and just watch
we can't
it.
chill if we see it. We just got to get up and do something.
Definitely, 100%. It goes back to Lady Justice with the scales as well.
Yeah. Agreed. And it's good to talk to another Libra. Makes it interesting. So now Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign that's very misunderstood, very mysterious, but they tend to have strong emotional drive. But I think they maybe get their emotional drive from their psychic abilities. What do you think?
So Scorpio is the sign of death, which is typically also why they could be understood. It's seen as something to be feared, something to be backed away from. And they are very intense, especially in romantic relationships, even friendships, right? And they are considerate, I find, as well. Similar to Leo, they're very loyal. They'll just give and give and give. But when it comes to matters of betrayal or revenge, they get it back. Definitely, a lot of water signs are like that. I've noticed as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Involved, but yeah, Scorpio, very psychic. They're able to look at the whole picture as well in sort of one go, if that makes sense.
Right.
They see the whole entirety of a situation, or even gnosis-wise, they can just have it all, see it all. And they're very detective-like. They love to delve into the mysteries and finer details of things as well.
Yeah, very true. Now let's go ahead and talk about Sagittarius. Now Sagittarius can be very adventurous, very intellectual. I feel that maybe like the sign, they like to shoot their arrows, towards their goals, but I think that sometimes they maybe that can cause them to wander in places where either they shouldn't be or they're just not meant to be at that time. What do you think about that?
I agree with that 100%. They're also very vocal. They express what they want, what they're thinking, how they're feeling, a lot more than Leo and Aries, I find as well. Especially the aggression. My Mars is in Sagittarius, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it explains the whole fighter thing.
Right.
Excellent fighters. Not just because of my thing, but other Sagittariuses like Andrew Tate, etc. A lot of them are actually mainly Sagittarius. They enjoy conflict a little too much sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. They are a fire sign. So, let's talk about Capricorn. So, to Capricorn, time is very valuable. They can be patient, very skilled at, being emotional. They're an earth sign. I think sometimes when they're too patient, maybe they can kind of be taken advantage of. What do you think about that?
Definitely. Capricorn, yes?
Capricorn,
yeah. Excellent at business in terms of building business, the physical aspect of it. And they're very disciplined, I've noticed. They enjoy the grind, they're hard workers. But at the same time, they struggle with balance themselves. And they're
very true. They can snap. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah, they can snap. Yeah, definitely. It's like a goat or a ram. Like they're very friendly creatures or animals, but when they do decide not to be, like it just, kind of thing. Like just they ram.
Yeah, definitely. Now Aquarius. When it comes down to it, Aquariuses can be very innovative, but really, at the end of the day, they really just want to make the world a better place. They are not a water sign, they're an air sign. But as far as, being innovative or revolutionary, sometimes maybe it's better for them to kind of, not in all situations, but some, to kind of just build off of what's already there. What do you think?
With Aquarius, I find that whatever field they choose to focus on most in life, be it career-wise or in any aspect of their life, they will excel in to a point where they push the limits of it and then expand into some new territory, revolutionizing the subject, becoming very well known in it. But at the same time, that leads to being misunderstood. With genius comes a touch of madness, as they say, right? So when you're creating something new, revolutionizing or changing something, being the winds or of change, so to speak, there's going to be people who misunderstand and then misinterpret.
Right. I 100% agree with that. Now let's talk about the last one, Pisces. Pisces can be very psychic, very empathetic. They have constant attention between fantasy and reality, switching between the two. But I don't think sometimes they can blend the two and maybe their vision kind of get clouded. What do you think about that? They're a water sign.
The fish.
Yeah.
With what you said at the end, blending reality with fantasy, that can be a perfect recipe for manifestation at the same time. Like they can really build something or manifest something they want, but at the same time, it can also go very bad, I've noticed. Very polite, extremely polite, but when upset with a person, at first they'll sort of back off and like they can't even be in the same room. They won't even want to look at the person. That's something I've noticed as well. But in terms of aggression, it's hard. It's very rare that you see one get to that level.
Right. Yeah, 100%, man. So that covers all the shadow sides of the signs and a little bit of astrological history. So yeah, that's all we've got for this video here. It's been a wonderful chat. Everyone who's watching, check out Occult to Belial. Links will be below in the video description. Check out their YouTube channel. Check out their Facebook group, which was very insightful. A lot of good info on that. Anton, thanks once again for coming on, brother.
Thank you for having me on, bro. It's an honor.
All right. And everyone who's watching, like and subscribe to Dark Sorcery.